Coming up on the Paper Talk today, it's the morning after the afternoon before. Manchester United finally breaking that record that we've had against the top 8-9 clubs, whatever you want to call it, away from home with a big win at Aston Villa. We've got some stats and some quotes following that result and that performance that hopefully can edge us towards top 4 this season. Also, in terms of transfers, what is going on and outgoings and what is going on in incomings, you'll be shocked to find out we've been linked with a player that used to be at Ajax. I mean, mind boggles, doesn't it? We never get linked with players. We never get players from the Dutch league. But yeah, it looks like we could be linked with a player that was formerly at Ajax. But it might be one we fancy, so we'll get into that. Make sure as well you're getting into all the comments and the chat as well. And if you're not subscribing to the channel already, subscribe to the channel. Come on then, let's get into the news. Jay here for Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and it's a bit dreary, but my mood is elated and sunshiny, if that's even a word. No, sunny's a word, because Manchester United beat Aston Villa in a must-win game yesterday. Was it must-win? Well, we won, so let's call it must-win. Make sure, before you do anything, though, you are hitting like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. We want to get to 750 subscribers by the end of the season, and with your support, we can get there. We're almost there anyway, so it shouldn't be too much of a task for us to get over the line. Now, a lot of stories this morning focusing on that big win at Aston Villa. There's a couple of other stories as well that we'll get into a little bit later, but in terms of the win, some good performances. Obviously Harry Maguire got man of the match, and if you look at the stats, he was pretty much first in most of the stats in terms of his defensive performance, and he got an assist as well. So I probably thought Diogo Dalot might have shaded it, but Harry Maguire certainly worth player of the match, I should say. Pretty of a bonus for him, a boost for him as well, because he's had his critics, and he over the recent seasons, Harry Maguire, but he was player of the month in November. Now he was player of the match against Aston Villa. He's certainly turning things around, and it's good to see. We want our players playing well, and he's doing that. Mainoo, again, pretty much running the show. There's some stats I think we've got from Statman Dave. He spoke about Mainoo's performance yesterday. I think it was 85% pass accuracy, 52 touches, 6 ball recoveries, 4 key passes. I think it was 4 ground duels won, 3 long balls completed. A very good performance by Mainoo, and it's what we want to see. He's been absolutely brilliant since he's come into the team, and even yesterday, when you think it's probably one of his quieter games, if I could use that word, quiet, he does what you need him to do. He was involved in the winner as well, and that's what you want to see from him, just going about his business, being effective, and just doing the things that other players in the team can't really do. I saw a piece as well, I think it was in the Manchester Evening News, sort of an opinion piece, saying this might give Ten Hag maybe a little bit of an headache or something to think about when Mason Mount comes back, because how does that midfield work? How does that team work if you're trying to bring Mason Mount back into it? You're not going to drop Casemiro. You're not going to drop, I don't think you're going to drop Bruno. Are you going to drop Mainoo the way he's playing? I know they're different players, completely different players, but how do you fit Mason Mount into this team now? It's a headache you'd want to have, but it's what he's going to have to sort out anyway. So get involved in the chat in the comments and let us know what you think about that. Mason Mount should be returning to the team soon, and it looks like he may struggle to get into it. A couple of other things to go through as well in terms of yesterday's performance. Rasmus Hojlund, he became, I think it was the second youngest player ever to score in 5 consecutive Premier League goals. That's a record that Nicolas Anelka is the youngest. I think he was 19 when he did it for Arsenal way back in the late 90s. Rasmus Hojlund, though, the second youngest, absolutely smashing it. 5 consecutive games he scored. Great to see. Also, you saw a little bit of a little bit of afters, argy-bargy, whatever you want to call it, between him and Douglas Luiz. Bit of pushing and shoving as he was leaving the pitch. I thought it was pretty performative from Douglas Luiz, because Rasmus Hojlund was almost off the pitch when Douglas Luiz came over and started to trying to push him or trying to move him off the pitch. And then Rasmus Hojlund, I think he did a little signal to the Villa fans to show him the score, which I don't mind. A little bit of, winding them up. Why not? Let's not forget as well, Douglas Luiz was doing that pathetic little shimmy. I don't know if he was doing it to Andre Onana or who was doing it to when he scored. Ten Hag was asked about it, whether the players responded to that, and he said he didn't think so. He didn't think there was much in it. He said it might have spurred them on. He don't really know. He don't think they were thinking about it. I don't know if they were. I don't think they were thinking, oh, Douglas Luiz has done a shimmy, we need to get him back by getting a winning goal. It seems a bit of a storm in a teacup, to be honest with you. But yeah, a couple of the papers have picked up on the spat between Luiz and Rasmus Hojlund. I think the Daily Mail have got it. But again, it's almost completely meaningless. The meaningful thing is the fact that Manchester United got all 3 points. In terms of stats as well, Scott McTominay has now scored, I think he's got 12 points from his goals. Manchester United have got 12 points from his goals this season. That's more points than any other player has got for a club this season, or a team this season, in terms of their goals. I think the closest to him is Heung-min Son. He's earned 10 points for Spurs. After that, it's Dominic Solanke, who's got 9 points for Bournemouth. So 12 points that United have got have been through Scott McTominay's goals this season. I think McTominay off the bench is hugely effective. Hardly the most insightful comment when I've just told you that we've got more points than anyone from his goals or from one player's goals. But I think when he starts, it doesn't always work. Sometimes you lose a little bit in midfield, but when he's coming off that bench, when he's getting those goals that we've seen him getting, we saw him come on against West Ham, he was very effective. Of course, you go back a little while further against Brentford, where he got those 2 goals in the last sort of 2 minutes of injury time. He can be the sort of the secret weapon, if you will, or the not so secret weapon for Erik Ten Hag. So McTominay off the bench, he's proven his worth this season. Long may it continue, because I think that he's been very effective, as the stats show as well. A couple of other stories to go through too. In terms of transfers, Anthony Martial looks like he could be heading out in the summer. No real surprise there. We expect him to go. His contract doesn't look like it's going to get renewed. He's injured again. He's been injured for quite some time now, hasn't he? I mean, I think he's out for the next sort of month and a half at least, but he's going to be out for a little while, and it seems that Marseille and Monaco are interested in him. There's a report in the Daily Mail that says those 2 clubs are looking at him. We'll have to see what happens there. And in terms of incomings, there looks like there could be something happening with Matthijs de Ligt. Now, we've been linked with him for a little while. There was a report I think this is in the Mirror, saying that de Ligt, he didn't play in the 3-0 loss for Bayern Munich against Bayern Leverkusen. He hasn't really been playing a lot this season. He was asked if he was fit after the game, because he was on the bench again. I think he was an unused sub, and he said he was top fit, so obviously fit. Now, earlier in the season, Thomas Tuchel addressed this issue. He said, look, when it comes to de Ligt, I think he was injured. He didn't have much of a pre-season. He was injured. We brought him back a little bit too soon, I think, for the Super Cup. That's why he's not always been in the team. However, now he is fit. He's still not getting in the team. It says Kim Min-jae and Deo Upamecano are being preferred ahead of him. So there's talk that he could be on the move in the summer. Obviously, he comes from Ajax. He's going to be linked with Manchester United. You know our transfer policy under Erik Ten Hag. And while I have erred on the side of caution with us consistently getting his players from Ajax in the Dutch league, I do think de Ligt would be a very good signing. I know it's not worked out for him at Bayern Munich, and you may maybe even go back a little bit further than that, say, was his move to Juve the right one? But I think for de Ligt, coming to United, I think it could work for him. I think he's a very talented player. He's only 24, don't forget. He has had a couple of injury issues, but I wouldn't class him as injury prone. And I think if United did sign him, and it didn't cost the earth, I think that'd be a good move. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat in the comments. What do you think about the result at Villa? Do you think this is top 4 on now? What do you think about the fact that Rasmus Hojlund's found his feet? Do you expect him to carry on this run that he's on? Also, Scott McTominay, is he our super sub? Kobbie Mainoo, what do you think of him? Let me know about all these things. Is Anthony Martial going to go in the summer? I think he is. And should we bring in Matthijs de Ligt? I'm going to leave it there. This has been the Paper Talk. Don't forget to hit like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. A big shout out to our members. Loads of new members recently. We do appreciate your support. If you haven't already, go and check out our membership. That's not even a word, Jay. Membership section. We've got extra content on there, behind the scenes videos. Me and Joe talking about all sorts as well, as we love to do. Bit of fantasy football and all that jazz as well. So go and check out the members section. Without our members, this channel would not exist. We appreciate your support. And if you can't become a member, don't worry. Just make sure you're subscribing to the channel.